Welcome back to Melbourne Celebrates 2023. I'm joined by Ashley Weidner, and we're here in Wantirna South at Llewellyn Park for round two.
We are Melbourne Celebrates 2023, presented by Discraft. Can't wait to see this second round, Kyle, after the scoring on the first round, probably a bit more subdued than we would have thought.
Yeah, absolutely. We're joined again by Ryan Hart, who's again going to be relying on that captain's raptor and a lot of the stable stuff in his bag, as we found out yesterday. Very similar story to Ryan Michelle, the newcomer to our card. A lot of those Halo destroyers, Firebirds, and Eagles, with a few Buzz OSs thrown in there for fun.
And the most well-known bag in the country, Tim Bowen. A lot of destroyers, the famous Taipan, his 11-time Climo T-Bird, and that AVR that he's putting with. And Darren, there is, again, streamlined bag. The FD2 is his hero, his concrete slab. The Buzz we're going to see a lot of today, and putting with that Takapoo from RPM.
Absolutely. As we move into hole one, we saw it yesterday. It claimed some victims. 75 metres really doesn't do it justice with this elevated basket, providing quite the difficulty. OB right and behind, so you're looking to just put something ideally where you can get a good putt at it from, as it's quite the struggle. Tim going forehand.
Yeah, probably getting it a bit wider than he would have liked and not quite getting the fade in that he would have wanted there, but still a putt.
As we get our first glimpse of Ryan Michelle on our card, another lefty, making sure that Daz doesn't feel too alone.
And sliding it right up next to his good mate Tim there.
Ryan punching it a bit lower today and ending up quite nicely, just short of the basket there.
A great shot of the disconnection bullseye challenge there. So disconnection had a bounty on this hole for anyone that could hit the koozie of the basket. And out of 109 players playing 2 rounds, one person hit it for the entire weekend. So testament to the sneaky difficulty of this hole, I think, Kyle.
Absolutely. It is quite unassuming from the tee pad. There's not a lot of trouble to find, but parking it is quite the challenge.
Very easy to hit the bullseye on the second shot, though, mind you.
Yeah, as a lot of these guys have shown us with their layups, they've learned their lesson from yesterday. As Daz strays away from the putter and moves to the justice instead.
Yeah. The wind again playing a factor today there. Instead blowing his hood up in the background.
Rhino again falling victim to this hole one basket with the wind blowing that out left side off the pole. And nearly blowing the second one out as well.
Looked like it was definitely in his head as he sawed his arm off a little bit there on that first putt. So hopefully the other basket's going to be a bit friendlier to Ryan today.
As Daz gives us a wave.
And Daz gives us a wave. The players move on to hole 2 as we do. Par 4, we've got a Mando left of these trees here that you see on the right. We've got an OB path down the left, which you can't see just yet, but players are going to be looking to put it over this hill down into this area here and give themselves a nice approach for birdie, or just put it all the way down there and dunk it in the basket.
Yeah, look, Eagle's definitely not off the cards. We saw Melbourne Eagle Jeff Brunsting do it from the top of the hill.
Not the way you'd see it done in a textbook, but well played there, Jeff.
Absolutely. Tim's Taipan found safe, but not where he'd want to be.
Is that what he was after? I thought he was giving it Taipan fangs as he threw it there.
We see
Ryan with the
Ryan.
destroyer, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. One of his Halo destroyers.
Halo destroyer, yeah. And you've got to love that when a player's good enough to land it at the catch cam operator's feet.
Absolutely. Rhino here, his forehand was looking great for a moment, then the wind just pushed the nose up and cut it right off right. He still is short on the Mando, so no drop zone yet, but we'll see what he has for his second.
That's low and flat and getting a beautiful amount of turn out of that. Putting it a bit wider than he would have liked, but in a beautiful spot, pin high.
Yeah, again, Ryan's turnover just straightening out with the wind, so he'll be left with a bit more scrambling to do.
Him with the tricky little approach there. But he'll have the putt for birdie.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful there from Ryan. From his patent pending stance, he's done very well.
The Daz for the elusive eagle.
Get up there, numbskull.
Probably left it a bit shorter than he wanted, but he will have a putt.
Him not messing around, the justice. Nearly gave me hope that that was going to bounce off the tyre and in. That was quite something.
Yeah. I mean, all you've got to do, I know we keep talking about it, but all you've got to do is look at the trees or any of the CTP flags you can see around the players here just to see what they were contending with today.
Yeah, 30.
I ain't having none of it.
30 to 40 kilometre winds with 50 kilometre an hour gusts. It was, dare I say, windy was an understatement.
Yeah, 30 to 40k is not fast when you're in a car, but when it's wind and you're trying to throw a frisbee into it, pretty stiff.
Okay. Great birdie there from Ryan. Hole 3 now, 83 metres, a bit more than just the distance is the best description of this hole, as we're heading downhill to a basket perched precariously on top of quite a large mound, rolling away in every direction. We've got OB over to the left, painted in blue before we reach the houses, as things slope away very, very quickly here. These players would be probably looking to just embed the disc in the right-hand side of the hill and have some type of putt from there.
Nice.
Yeah, Ryan looks like he's finished early in those trees there.
Him lining up his ESP zone.
Thank you.
Right on line, just coming up a tad short.
Lining up a putt from the base of the hill. She probably wanted a bit more out of that, but it will be a putt. Ryan getting it nice and low.
Very similar spot to Tim. As a braver man than I, opting for the turnover into this headwind, and that risk and reward pays off.
I thought you were going to say braver man than I wearing a beige chino on the disc golf course. A lot of stuff you can scratch, scrape, stain those chinos with out there, Dads, but looking good, mate. Ryan sailing over the top there. Ryan just giving it everything behind it to get it up the hill and stick.
Good.
Sat down nicely there. Is always the stress having some roll away.
Way up there from Ryan. Him coming up and praying to the wind gods. Taking his full 30 seconds and waiting as long as he can for that windsock to die down and then getting it in. Sometimes in the wind, that's all it takes. Stop, think about it. Trust your disc and get it in there.
As Ryan executes on that plan exactly. Step up and deliver.
We see this car in the background down here. Can't remember who it was, but there was a gentleman driving up and down the road all afternoon just watching players tee off. And that was his spectator position. So good on him.
Ryan taps in for his bogey there after finding some trouble out of those trees short.
Par 4, hole 4, par 3. Whew, jump behind myself there. 84-metre par 3, 275 feet if you prefer it that way. No OB here apart from the road early, and you're just looking to bit further left than it shows on this video, and you are basically looking to just, for a righty backhand, it's a nice big highs around the corner.
Yeah, Daz with a bit more work to do here, leaning on this buzz, trying to get some turn out of it and push it around the trees and up the hill. Very touchy shot, especially with the wind.
And a slightly off-kilter tee pad too, or slightly sloped tee pad. But he puts it about up to that ditch we spoke about yesterday.
Him hoping to replicate yesterday as he buzzed the tower a bit. As you could basically see that just stop in midair.
Yeah, I think that the tree avenues, as it comes around that corner, it's essentially copping all the wind from down that fairway of 2. And so once you're going to get around that corner and your disc's going to realise it's getting smashed by wind, as Ryan's just stays dead straight. And Rhino, maybe that'll be our naming convention for this round. Kyle dealing with 2 Ryans.
Opting for the captain's raptor and no shortage of stability there. Looking left, just not quite the height.
Tim getting it a bit wide.
I'm outside here.
Got a red t-shirt and a beige chino now. This is a look, Darren. And I'm a fan, I've got to say. It's doing something for me. It's doing plenty for you by the look of that putt.
That's a beautiful putt there into the strong headwind as we take another look at that. Just outside the circle, hopping forward into quite a stiff breeze. It's a great looking
putt. What did he say
putt.
there? He turned around to someone and he said, should I run it?
Yeah, great putt there from Daz. Very
Fantastic.
nice.
Rhino, very similar to round 1, just not quite getting that up enough.
him cashing that comebacker very nicely.
And Ryan M tapping in for a par.
Hole 5 now, 95 metres, par 3. Not the longest, but definitely the hardest par 3 on the Llewellyn layout. Straight uphill, playing a lot longer than 95, probably closer to 115 to 120, with quite a tight gap to navigate through two bands of trees left and right. Go too far left and you'll be down in the graveyard to the left. Lots of steep slopes to be found down there.
Yeah, I think that's the word you were looking for, Kyle. Steep slopes. Dad's lining up that FD2 again. You can see the slope on this. You can barely see the basket from there. Daz throws that beautifully. Knows exactly what that disc's going to do. Puts it dead straight and gives himself a birdie look on this tough par 3. Tim.
Pushing it straight through that branch again and getting through, so he'll have a clear look. It's quite a tough hole for the righty. I've yet to see someone navigate it well.
I've seen people navigate it reasonably well, but not on purpose, let's say, Kyle. You know, you might go to throw the big hyzer over the top and then crash through the middle part of the trees or something like that.
That would make sense.
Big hyzer. Speaking of a big hyzer over the top, what is Rhino lining up here?
Going straighter and flatter today and just collecting those left-hand trees. As we get to see exactly how uphill that is.
He's a tall fellow, Rhino. Ryan Michelle just out a bit wide there. Lovely shot of an iconic forehand. As Tim gives himself a putt.
What to do?
Rhino for par. A bit low again.
Yeah, not quite getting that same flat release that he normally gets, and possibly being punished by that wind a bit much when that angle's not quite right.
Yeah, it looks like it's just, oh, Daz. 2 days in a row for Daz. Same story.
Same story, yes.
Ouch. And Tim as well.
There's no excuse for that.
But yeah, it looks like the rest of Rhino's round goes and watch this, we'll get a good view of this part closer. But you see that nice high lineup that he does and then comes through much lower with that beautiful snap of the wrist. It looks like that's perhaps just not happening on some of them for Rhino.
Yeah, definitely one of the putters that is more find a rhythm and then unstoppable. But it's just a matter of finding that rhythm in time.
As we get to hole 6, 190-metre par 5, right around this cricket, football, multi-purpose oval, and you'll see the OB line there, which will be lined with flags on tournament day, as you'll see shortly. That's OB to the right of that. To the left of that, well, it's death. Don't go down there. It's a gully, if you will. It's a snake gully. It's a taipan gully. And you want to just get up here in 2 or 3 and give yourself a nice putt for birdie, eagle, par, I'll take either of them, Kyle.
Sounds like a very solid plan. Rhino and Tim both taking eagles yesterday, so we'll
Mm.
watch on keenly to see what they manage today.
Has put some move on that.
Come out of that!
It looks like it's turned over in the wind, has it?
Yeah, down in Snake Gully, as you
It's windy.
may have described quite vividly in the whole flyover, and Taz was like, that sounds interesting. I should check that out.
Good lord.
Him not straying from the game plan even slightly.
Mm.
Another flex forehand with that Taipan. Beautiful.
Done. Beautiful again. Yeah. Ryan taking the Matthew Lloyd approach and throwing a bit of grass up before he throws his tee shot. I threw a bit of grass up before one of my tee shots and it ended up in the Dandenongs, Kyle. The wind was that bad. So Ryan goes nice and high.
And also just got caught by that wind and pushed OB, unfortunately. Following a similar line to your grass.
It did, yeah.
Ryan again, not messing with any Anheuser, any turn, just putting it out there on pure Heiser and not getting close to that OB.
Yeah, just throwing it out there and saying, righto, be a disc.
The wind getting the better of Tim's Taipan there.
That like full wind.
He'll still have a look for an approach. Not quite as close as he was yesterday.
Daz is going on an adventure.
Daz bush bashing a bit here.
Just straight into that hill a bit.
Doesn't get out, yeah. This hole did take some big numbers over the weekend. And this is how it can happen. So Daz pushing OB from that Snake Gully position there.
Ryan not messing with any of it and pushing that straight over the top there as his captain's Raptor finds its way towards the basket.
Beautiful placement there. As with all the grass here at Llewellyn, you can't expect a skip. So really got to place that shot beautifully. Oh,
Second shot in a row where the wind's just got the better of Ryan, pushing him OB for the second time.
oh. The wind grabbing a hold of Daz's upshot there and pushing it OB long of the basket.
Precarious little pin position here, especially pushing a left to right shape. It doesn't take much of a gust to really derail that approach.
Ryan just happy to be up near the basket.
As nearly making his putt from OB there. Ryan on the other end of things, taking the lone eagle for the day in MPO on this hole.
It's 2 days in a row for Rhino.
Yeah, absolutely.
Equal both days.
Playing .38 over par in this second round. It's strokes.
Is that all?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, one eagle, two birdies, and then a couple of bogeys here and there.
Wow.
Hole 7 now, a 67-meter par 3. This flyover is a little bit deceiving as all of this brush has been cleared out thanks to the Knox Council. And now you've got a straight line to the basket. Left, right, however you want to attack it. Heading into this hill is the way to go. Anywhere in that long grass behind the basket, still a very nice birdie putt.
Yeah, definitely gettable from any of those positions. The only place you'd prefer not to be is, like you say, down that hill to the left of screen here.
Ooh,
Oof,
great shot there from Rhino.
lovely. Tim taking that forehand line.
Just
Into a
not,
bit of roll.
yeah, not skipping up that hill as effectively as maybe desired.
Hmm. Ryan taking the lefty line because, well, he has to.
Looking shot there.
Well, yeah, we'll have that depth putt to that downhill area, but not overly long. Putt.
As throwing that magma hard Takapoo. Recently been enjoying the firmer base plastic for some throwing putters.
And that's just about perfect, Darren. He does love a throwing putter, doesn't he, Daz?
Absolutely. Those RPM 2Es go a long way in his hands.
Yeah. Tim making a pretty good run at that uphill putt there. Giving it the taipan fingers again and tapping in.
Brian with quite a daunting putt here. Wind off his left. Quite a tough wind for the lefty. Any hyzer angle and it'll just disappear down that hill.
That's a fantastic putt.
So we see a bit of a fist pump there from Ryan. That was, I mean, as you said, great putt. Very difficult wind and difficult consequences if it weren't to make contact. So good all around.
Righto, fantastic. You see that pop of the wrist, a hand pointing to the basket. He could be on now. Came out beautifully. And he's starting to get the rub of the wind too. And Daz for a birdie.
I'll leave it up to Ryan as to whether he wants to do it or not.
Hole 8, we move on to 65-metre par 3. The pin or the tee position is going to be a little bit to the left of where we're flying from here. That was moved due to some unstable ground on the clay, but we're basically throwing straight down this tunnel. You've got some OB far left, which is some house fences you've got to avoid, and you want to put it around these little bushes to the basket here, Kyle.
Absolutely. Quite a challenging hole given the changes. Not seeing as many birdies as it absolutely would have, but definitely still gettable for a lot of these guys.
As Ryan gets it round the corner, just in front of those fences I mentioned a few moments ago, he will have an upshot. Difficult putt for birdie from there.
Ryan going for the lefty turnover backhand. Initially a bit high, but that wind drop just getting you underneath the ceiling.
Yeah. It's a bold play. I'll give that to him.
Daz is bewildered by the thought that there's a backhand line there. Himself opting for that forehand with his Colour Glow Draco. Him the exact same thing as yesterday and skips along the ground to about pin high. He'll have a nice putt for birdie.
Well, yeah, he gets a bit more ground play than he did yesterday. Fantastic, Tim. Daz having hit early, I think we're going to see him first. As we see the gallery start to build again, fantastic to see all the players sticking around. They're mostly the guys that won something, though, so they're all sticking around to get their trophy. As Daz has a touchy forehand approach, I don't think he likes it.
So catches some trees on the right there, pushes through, so it's not as bad as it could have been, but yeah, still not what he had in mind.
Ryan, after that bold tee shot, it's for birdie, not quite online there. That's just swallowing the Benadryl, and he'll take a bogey from here. Tim with birdie.
1 of 3 on the day, a very solid putt there from Tim. Definitely one of the rarer ones.
It ended up being a very tough birdie this hole. Someone had the parked bounty on, and shout out to Kerry Edwards, who took out a birdie on this hole and managed to snap a picture of it and send it to us. So he's got a t-shirt on the way. So Ryan taps in there, and Daz taps in nice and safely.
As we move on to the last hole of this front nine, hole 9, 67 metres once again, a par 3 on a peninsula, OB long and left of the basket, about 3 metres trailing along that path, as well as OB here along the oval's edge. Anywhere in this long grass is a good putt, but trying to bite off too much could easily find some trouble.
Bit jealous I didn't get to say peninsula, Kyle. I'm going to look for an excuse to use that word as Tim throws that forehand up to pretty much where he's put it yesterday to give himself a putt.
Possibly a bit shorter. He might have a little bit more work to do, but we all know he's capable.
Ryan, a little bit early, but he's on the peninsula, at least. Sorry, that was Ryan. No, this is Ryan.
Just pushing his Toro a bit too straight and finding that OB behind the basket there. He will have a putt to save his par, but not ideal, to say the least.
It's only about 3 metres behind there, so if you don't mind taking a par, pushing long is a risk-reward scenario. Daz, he had that ace run look in his eye again. He's thrown it up there to give himself a birdie putt. Hopefully.
Oh, that was good.
Good bid from a bit of an awkward stance there from Tim.
Yeah.
Ryan manages to just stay in bounds. Sorry to cut you off there. I thought we nearly had an OB there.
Beautiful putt from Weidner. For his par capitalising on that luck, staying in bounds. Ryan, from his OB position, takes that par.
Very good save in hindsight.
Yeah, when you look at that path and where he's ended up going out, it was one of the worst OB positions he could have found for that comebacker. You really want to go long right behind the basket.
As Daz taps in for his birdie there. As we now get to take a look at our scores after this front nine. We've only got 9 holes to go. Can you believe it?
I believe it. This tournament has absolutely flown by. Speaking of flying, look at Tim Bowen out there. 7 down. chased quickly by Ryan Michelle at 5 down, with Ryan Hart holding on at 5 down after that eagle. Daz, 2 down, staying in touch. But have a look at this, Kyle. What's happening here?
Charging from chase card is Leo Dykes, 3 down through 9 holes. A pretty handy front 9 to now sneak up ahead of Ryan Hart and Ryan Michelle to be just 1 stroke shy of Tim Bowen. Very exciting
Fantastic
stuff. Make sure you stick around for the back 9 and see who comes out on top.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and park it.